let's look at the battle for LA, Dave. Man, I think you are right about 5-15, and 5-15 would actually be an improvement for this Laker team. They are bad, Dave. Like Dave, yeah, look, the Clippers got out to a couple big leads, lost the leads. The Lakers played hard, they got back into it. But when I watch this Laker team, I only see one avenue for them, and that is to literally play hard all the time. There is no margin for error for them. And when I watch LeBron, I can see the frustration with him. It's just like this dude is passing and he's relying. I don't want to knock Austin Reeves, but it's like he's relying on dudes like that and Matt Ryan to have to make shots. This is what has become for LeBron James, that yes, he has Anthony Davis, but like he has to rely on these guys to make big shots for him. Meanwhile, on the other end, Paul George comes down, boop, in. Paul George scores. Paul George to Norm Powell. Paul George to John Wall. You know, he's got all this help, even without Kawhi Leonard. I'm sure it has to be frustrating for LeBron.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, can I get that sound effect again? But I play this game sometimes, covering games with Dan Wojcicki at the LA Times. He covers the Lakers. He's on the road, so we spend a lot of time in different arenas watching a lot of bad basketball so far this season.
You don't want to. You want to tell all the people the game we used to play, which I think the Laker beat still does now. I started it. Do you want to tell them that game?
Yeah, let's do that after. Let me finish this, and we'll get to the other game.
Yeah.
So the game we play is rank the players on the floor 1 through 10, and it's a good barometer to recognize just how much there's a dearth of talent on this Lakers team, because we did it last night during the Clippers game, and at one point I believe
Clippers had to have at least 6 of the 10.
Well, I mean, you can't. It's only 5 on each side. You can't have 6.
No, I thought you were saying rank the top of both teams, the 10 best players
on the court.
Oh, on the floor,
right?
Got it.
If the Clippers had 6, that'd be really impressive.
Yeah. Sorry,
but
yes,
there were instances where the Clippers had 4 or 5 of the top 5 players on the court, and if the Lakers want to be considered a contender, that is a major problem.
So I would say, Dave, what is the Lakers' record going to be after 20 games?
I've told you this answer. I mean, 5-15 is very much in play. Look at the upcoming schedule. The one thing about their schedule thus far, even though they played a lot of tough opponents, they've had more home games than road games. But they're going to start going on the road the end of November through pretty much all of December, and things get really tough. You start playing back-to-backs. You start not having the ability to practice and use your home facility in order to, take care of all the knick-knack type injuries that can pile up, and also have the time to kind of catch your breath to process one game and look ahead to the next. Like, this thing can go off the rails rather quickly. I actually believe that the next 2 weeks will make or break the Lakers season. If they don't start putting together something at the end of November, everything can fall apart. And you could say, hey, it's an 82 game season. Hey, the New Orleans Pelicans started 3-16 last year. They made the play-in tournament. Hey, look at the Boston Celtics last year. They were waffling around 500, and then they made the NBA Finals. The difference is this year's Laker team, as I said before on this show, has to convince the front office that it's worth it to put forth future assets to make this team better. If in the next 2 weeks they don't show anything, and mind you, the defensive-minded head coach Darvin Ham, who had this team playing the number 2 or number 3 top defensive efficiency in the league the first 7 games, has now seen this team drop to number 30 over the last 4 games. They are showing absolutely nothing. No sign of will, no sign of fight, no sign of cohesion, and no sign of luck. If you don't have any of those ingredients that it takes to build a contender, why would you chase bad money with good money by trading away those future picks? It doesn't make sense. You can go to this summer, you can have Russell Westbrook come off the books, you can get another draft pick asset that you can trade as of draft night. You can't trade it before draft night, but once draft night passes, you can trade it. Then you have 3 first-round picks, you have a ton of cap space, and you have some time this year to try to develop some of the younger talent, guys like Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker, Kendrick Nunn, Max Christie, etc., and see if any of those guys can fit. You hate the idea of wasting another year of LeBron James's prime? Of course you do. But the Lakers' steward's job is to stabilize the franchise over time. And right now, Why would you invest more in a group that looks like the worst team in the NBA?
This is the great conflicting message with the Lakers, though. I understand that you have to extend LeBron's contract and keep him, but at the same time, what's the point of having LeBron James for another 2 seasons if you are not going to try to contend for at least being in the, maybe in the fourth, fifth, or sixth seed of the West, let alone trying to get in the playing game? What Dave is talking about, let's take a look at the schedule. Like, they've got Sacramento, Brooklyn, Detroit at home with that 4-day break in between what he was talking about, which I'm very jealous of. The Clippers, by the way, by contrast, okay, are in the middle of a 2-day break. It's their first 2-day break since before Halloween, and their last 2-day break without a game until December 18th. The Clippers schedule is absolutely packed. But after Detroit, home to San Antonio. I mean, we can just say what it is now. These are must wins. Detroit and San Antonio must win games, even though San Antonio is much improved. And Detroit obviously is competing with new young talent. At Phoenix, that's going to be a tough one. Then you got a back-to-back at San Antonio. They cannot lose both those games. They have to at least split them. I'll give San Antonio one of the games because it's at San Antonio. And then they finish the month with Indiana, another game that they have to get. And then Portland. And then there's a killer road trip at Milwaukee, at Washington, at Cleveland, back-to-back at Toronto, and then at Philadelphia, and they finish at Detroit. You're right, Dave. They could be done by December 12th. The season could be over by December 12th.
And what do you do from here, right? And so that's why this moment for LeBron James and this injury, it's so important that he dodged a bullet here. Because if it was the same result as that MRI that he got back in late 2018, it's over. You pack it up. You're already thinking about 23, 24, but they have a slight sliver of hope here. And Darvin Ham's message is that we got to look like that team that cared and fought and did everything we could on the defensive end through the first 7 games of the season. And then let's just hope we get a little bit of luck, guys returning to the lineup, and a little bit more cohesion. And I will say certain guys have started to look a little bit better in their roles. Troy Brown Jr., Lonnie Walker IV in particular. Just something to make this team have a chance to continue.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.